Hey everybody, DK here with Adventures in Dirt, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Digger Spotlight. Hey, we're live again, and got a great guest lined up for tonight. But hey, for those of you that are new to the channel or maybe just coming across Digger Spotlight is a show I put on 2 times a month where I'll bring in notable diggers from our digging community and bring them in here for a one-on-one live stream chat, and we'll get to ask them questions. They can interact with the chat. We can take your questions from the chat room. We'll talk about a lot of cool stuff, what they're into, questions I have, questions you have. We'll do a fun little giveaway a little bit later. That's always awesome. So if you have a question for tonight's guest, pay attention to the words scrolling around down here at the bottom of the page. It's going to give you a hint on how to really highlight your question for me so that I can see it easier in the sea of chat that usually happens. And I'll try to pay attention to chat as best I can. And please say hello to my moderators that are in the house. Should be Tony with 5280 Adventures in the house and Mike with MA Lyman. I don't know if he showed up yet, but please say hello to them. And if they have if you have any desire to get a question into me and I'm not picking up on it, send it to them, see if they could get it to my attention. That'd be awesome. But hey, thanks for showing up here and spending your Wednesday night with me. Should be a fun thing. Tonight's guest, hey, let me tell you about tonight's guest. Been on YouTube for over 6 years. Boy, he's climbing up on 200,000 subscribers right now. That's incredible. He's got over 50 million views on YouTube. Just an amazing accomplishment. He's been into coin collecting, coin roll hunting, metal detecting, just a lot of outdoor adventures, some great stuff. Everyone help me welcome to the show. Help me welcome JD with JDs Variety Channel. JD, hey, there you are, bud. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm doing great. Hey, thanks for coming on with me for the Digger Spotlight show. Yeah. What have you been up to lately? Where are you at? Are you in nice warm weather somewhere like in Fiji and hanging out and kicking back?
I wish. I'm in Northeast Tennessee and it's in the 20s today.
20s.
We got a dusting of snow left over from yesterday. So
oh my goodness.
It's cold.
So you haven't been out digging today?
Nope, not today. It's been probably a good week and a half, or at least since I've been out.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, do you see anybody in chat there? I'm going to pull up my chat window and see what we got going on. It looks like a bunch of people showed up. I know that Billy Milliken, got him. Billy Milliken and Mark LaCroix in the house. How you doing, guys? My moderator, 5280 Adventures, in there. Who do you see over there, JD?
I saw Billy. I know who Billy is, and I also see Pittsburgh Coin Hunting. I know that's Joe. So hey, Joe. Awesome. Got some other people. Bobby, Just Dirt Fishing. Quite a few people coming in.
Digging Canuck, Liz. I want to say hello to you, and our guest is in there. I see JD's Variety Channel. Look at that. Look at that guy sneaking in.
Yeah.
Just Dirt Fishing. I dig Daytona. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Thanks for coming in. Down South Detecting. Zach, how are you, buddy? Good luck with your giveaway. Everyone check out his channel. He's got a cool giveaway going on. Dirt Diggler, welcome, welcome. Hey, everyone. MG, want to say hello to you. She's from my treasure hunting club here in Denver. Good to see you, MG. Who's your Hillbilly? What's up there, Hillbilly? Who else you see sneak in on us here? I think they'll start rolling in as we get going.
Tennessee Gem, Down South Detecting.
Jim, how you doing, buddy?
Life Risers.
Right. Life and Times of Barney Taylor. Thanks for your support, bud. You've been really active on my channel lately, and I just want to say thank you. I appreciate that. Rock Roller, what's up, buddy? Yeah, cool. So hey, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you doing this with me, coming on. I think the viewers of our channels like it. They like the kind of the interaction in the chat. I mentioned in the intro 6 years on YouTube. Man, tell me about that. What's that like?
Yeah, I guess now it's about 6.5 years. I had started. It was the winter of 2011, way back. It seems like so long ago, when it was just an extremely cold, harsh winter. We had about a foot of snow. We had temperatures going like below freezing in Southwest Pennsylvania where I lived at the time, and I had severe cabin fever, and I was in desperate need of just some changes, like something new in life. And I had metal detected a little bit as a kid, and I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I just went onto YouTube and I like typed in metal detecting. And I don't even remember at first who all's videos I found, but I started finding people digging up silver coins and stuff, and I was hooked just like that. So I went out and I didn't go out. I went online and I bought all kinds of gear and stuff in preparation for when the snow melted. And then I don't know, it was like not even a day or not, it might have been the last day of January or something in 2012 when we had just enough of a thaw where there was just a little bit of snow left. I was like out there in the ice and chipping out zinc pennies out of a baseball field for like an hour.
Wow. You know, we all have that story, so let me hear yours. Yeah, I know we all have the story of that one special thing we found that we were just absolutely hooked at that point. So in the very beginning, what did you have one of those items that you can tell us about?
Well, yeah, I can go into the first item that I guess it helped me kind of like double down on it, but it's like one of those things like I already knew before I was even finding the stuff that I was going to stick it out. I just kind of already had that mindset. But the first significant thing that really got me going at that time, I lived in a house that was built in 1940, and the backyard, which was a decent size, but it kind of the whole field in the back, which is kind of jointly owned by everybody on the two streets, like mine and the one in behind it. And I found out that it used to be an old, I think it was an old orchard, like an apple orchard back there way back in the day. And the houses were, fairly old as well, 1940 around in there. So I don't remember what the first signal I got was, but I started finding a couple wheat pennies. I was using a real cheap detector at that point because I hadn't got my better one yet. It was just a White's analog detector. It was called a White's Classic 2, just two knobs. It was the same detector I used as a kid. It worked good. It was simple and easy to understand. And the first time I went out in my backyard, which is still one of my favorite finds to this day, I found a small sterling silver watch case with an ornate design on it and had the sterling mark on it. It was really small, about just a little bit bigger than a dime. For like a tiny watch or something. And I just loved it. I was so happy. You would have thought I found $1 million.
Hey, I want to ask the people in the chat room, while I'm asking JD some questions here and waiting for your excellent questions to start coming up, make sure you guys are answering my questions in chat. It'll start a conversation, and that's always fun to do. So everyone in chat, let me hear from you. What was your first wow, oh my gosh, I'm hooked moment or item you can tell others about there in chat? I always have a good time because I go back later after the stream's over and we'll read everyone's chats word for word. So make sure you let me know. That'd be awesome. So you went out and bought all kinds of great equipment, you said, right away.
Yeah, it's like,
and you
like I don't, yeah, for example, like the useless stuff I bought, I don't even live by the coast. I'm nowhere near the coast, and I bought a beach scoop, right? So that like tells you how prepared I was.
Do you have a checklist and you're like, yep, beach scoop,
yeah,
got it?
Like, eventually I'll go to the beach sometimes. So I bought some kind of crazy PVC beach scoop, that I've used like once since I've had it.
Sounds like me with gold prospecting. I went out and I watched these videos and I made myself these gigantic like hand dredges, made out of this gigantic PVC, and it was like 50 pounds by the time I got done. I was like, well, at least I got one now, and crazy.
And then like shortly after, a little while after I used my cheaper one, I realized that I was getting more serious into the hobby, and then that's when I bought a White's M6 that I used for a little while. And it wasn't long after I had the M6 that the E-Track MineLab E-Track was big on YouTube even back when people first started. A lot of people that did post videos were already using the MineLabs, and they were kind of revisiting the sites that the old timers had, thought they cleaned out. And going back into like 2011, 2012, 2013, there were people buying these E-Tracks and just pulling insane amounts of silver coins out of all these parks over the years that people thought there wasn't much left in. So being a coin guy, that's kind of how I got into metal detecting. I was just like, yeah, I kind of saw the technology. I didn't really know all the ins and outs about it, but I kind of did my research and decided to get an E-Track. That's after I had bought one different model detector that was terrible that I sent back. It was actually, I think it was a Garrett GTI 2500. There was a lot of hype around it, and it was horrible for coin shooting.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Was that like a PI machine, or was that?
No,
I'm not familiar with that one.
But I just kind of say it how it is. I don't have anything against Garrett detectors. A lot of the newer ones and their AT Pros and stuff, they've got great detectors, but they had a lot of hype. And around I think it was the GTI 2500. It's discrimination. It's separation was terrible. If you were in anywhere with a lot of trash, like every time you swung, it was just one huge smear.
Oh.
So it wasn't a good detector for coin shooting. So I was kind of frustrated with that one. I sent that back, got the White 6, which I still have, but used it for a couple months, and it's a good machine. But it had a few things I didn't like about it. Went to the E-Track, and then I used that for like 3 years afterward.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you still have that white 6.
Yep, I still have it.
Yeah.
There's actually a story behind that one. I was I don't know if there was something wrong with the one I got, because I got mine used. But I was looking for a lady's ring. I was on a permission, and this was the first time I ever tried to search for something that somebody had lost. And she lost a ring, saying she was thrown a rotten tomato, and said she was generally kind of in this area. So I spent quite a while looking for it, but it was in a garden area where there was like a lot of iron posts and stuff like that. And there was a lot of overload signals, so I hit some overload signal with the M6, and it blew out the threshold of the detector. So it still works to this day, but there's no threshold. So something to do with an overload signal literally blew it out.
Oh no. That's crazy.
It still works.
Yeah.
It just doesn't hum. There's no threshold.
Hey, before we jump into a lot of metal detecting stuff, I know a lot of people are here for that, but a lot of people are also here for some of your coin knowledge and some of the experiences you've had with coins. And you said you've been doing that longer than metal detecting. So how did all that get started?
Yeah, I'll go briefly into it because the story can get kind of winded. So just whenever you want to jump in, just jump in, cut me off. I don't mind.
All right.
But the first memory I have of being interested in coins, I was probably 10, 11 years old, somewhere around in there. And I was out at a restaurant, and my dad kind of most of the time paid with cash. So we were at a restaurant, and he got his change back in a little tray they bring back to your table. And there was a wheat penny in it, kind of wheat side up. And I looked at it and just knew that it looked different. And I was immediately fascinated, like, oh, it's different than all the other pennies. And that's the first memory I have. Since then, I kind of went pretty hard into coin collecting since I was about 12 years old. And then from there, I just I got really into the collecting and trading, trying to trade for better stuff and going to shows and using my paper route money to buy new coins for my collection and buying them off eBay. And then that turned into buying and selling and just spiraled from there.
When did you actually start coin roll hunting? Like, when did you actually start that as a hobby?
The coin roll hunting, before the coin roll hunting, I did search through a lot of coins that just weren't in rolls. I used to buy big lots of them on eBay.
Oh, wow.
So I guess it's not technically coin roll hunting, but I didn't actually get into doing it from the banks until I started YouTube, and other people were doing it during the winter months, like the people that were snowed in up north. So I started, doing some coin roll hunting videos probably around the time I started the channel about 6 years ago, just to kind of pass time in the winter. That's when that started.
Have you had a lot of luck with that?
I haven't had any major scores like some of the ones you see out there, but I generally stick to the $50, and I do find silvers. I had one box that had 10 silver coins in it. So I still find silver, so that's all it takes to make me happy.
Right. You found that $1 million penny that one time, didn't you? Thought I saw a video about that or something.
I wish. It was just doing a tutorial on it, but I didn't quite find the $1 million penny.
We're always looking, right? We're always looking. Hey, what's your favorite coin find? Finders Keepers wants to know, what's your favorite coin find?
Favorite coin find? Wow, that would be tricky. I have quite a few. I'm just going to pick one that kind of sticks out to me, even though there's so many to pick from. We're going to be splitting hairs. I mean, I always tell people my Morgan is my favorite, but I kind of really have this memory of one because there's a story behind it too. I was looking behind an old school back when I lived in Pennsylvania, and I found a mercury dime. That's the first year of issue. It's a 1916. It was in nearly pristine condition and it was toned, and it had almost like a rainbow hue to it. Just an absolutely amazing coin. Like, when I saw the date on it and the condition, I was almost speechless. Here, I turned the mercury dime around, and it had 2 big solder marks on the back. And I was like, first thinking, if there's a D on this coin, it's going to be worth like $5,000 because of the condition it's in. It didn't have a D mint mark, unfortunately. But I think to this day, that uncirculated 1916 mercury dime was possibly mounted in a ring or some sort of jewelry, like a pendant or something like that.
Yeah.
Just really sticks out to me. For some reason, I just always loved that coin.
Here's a question for you. I'm going to kind of throw this at you. We didn't prepare for this, but a lot of people here, some of us, most of us, maybe, I don't know how many people are on right now, but maybe not a lot of people are into coin collecting or know about values of coins. if you could pick five, we all collect loose change. Everyone here in America and across the world collects loose change.
Right.
What do you think the top five things we should be looking for in our loose change would be?
I'll try my best on that one because my expertise isn't a lot of the modern coins. I know a lot of people focus on like the coins you can find in change. I'm more of a, old coin guy. But right. For in your pocket change, I know people look for, well, you want to pull out any old coins you see that's not a Lincoln Memorial or a shield back, anything that's not, a modern coin you want to pick out. I know a lot of people look for specific errors. I think on the 1998 pennies that have like the wide AM, like separations in the letters, there's a lot of different varieties you can look for. You want to look for coins with clipped planchets. Of course, that elusive 1943 copper penny, which you can keep your hopes up. What are some of the other ones? Man, I honestly couldn't tell you when it comes to the modern coins. I really don't focus on them that much.
Is that right?
So I'm actually learning the modern coins just like other people are, of which ones to look for.
Gotcha.
So let's say I don't have the information stored in my head somewhere.
And what I like to do, I always like to post questions to the chat room as you and I are talking as well. So everyone in chat, if you're aware of something we should be looking for in our pocket change and you have some knowledge to share, go ahead and throw it out there. That'd be awesome. I'll be able to watch it later and people there will be able to get a conversation going. So, but why YouTube? Like, why did you want to just start filming YouTube? Is it because you were liking what you saw and you thought, hey, I can do this, or?
Yeah, it was sort of like I started watching other people's videos and I thought I'd be cool to film. But at that time, I mean, honestly, I'm actually the type of person, I'm kind of slow to get into new things. But once I get involved, then I'm kind of like over the top. So it just takes me a while to pull the trigger on something. So I started watching all the videos in kind of like the winter of 2011 and I kind of, the good intentions things where you kind of intend to get around to something, but you never do. Yeah. That's kind of how I approach filming. Like I should have started a lot earlier. I could have had some cool content earlier in the year because I detected hard for maybe almost 8 months before I started, even filming. But I watched, like you'd go out and find some stuff and then I would go on the internet at night and watch what everybody else finding. I'd be chatting with them in the comments and showing them what I found. And there was a few people kind of prod me along. They're like, just start posting videos. Like, so we can see this stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. I kept promising that I would. So basically I just started putting up videos so that I could share finds with other friends that I had made on the internet. Little did I know what it would turn into.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah, I had no intentions of anything at the time other than once I started, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. It's like, and then after a while, you get like 100 subscribers and, you're having fun with it. And you're like, I wonder if I could get to 1,000 subscribers, and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of us that make videos on YouTube, we think the same thing. We get to a new plateau or some new milestone. When did you start feeling it change for you? When did you start going, this is going to be different. This is something I need to pay attention to.
Well, it took a while because I didn't. I was kind of committed for the kind of engagement of it, but. I mean, I didn't even monetize my channel until, I don't know, early in 2015, I think is when I first started monetizing my channel.
Oh, really?
Up until then, I was just enjoying the camaraderie of it. And, it started to grow and, I'm kind of an entrepreneur and it kind of started as just like a fully hobby, right? Thing. But once I saw the opportunity and where the internet was headed and various different things I kind of learned as I would go, I was like, well, I'd rather make some money doing it and funnel more of my time into it, so that I could, make a little bit of income from something I enjoy. So I did a little bit of a switch and went through a little bit of an aggressive phase around 2015. And I'm like, okay, well, let's make this a reality. And that way, I can just kind of focus a little more on YouTube. So that's kind of when it more so changed. And I decided to take it, a little, more than just passive as a hobby.
Yeah, I don't know you so too well. You and I just kind of met, we've talked to each other here and there, but you remind me of a type of person maybe that once he gets really interested in something will get pretty studious about it and kind of really try to really figure it all out. Are you like that or? Yeah,
I'm like that too. And it was just kind of a mix of so many different things because not only did in around 2015, that's the same time I kind of got really involved in kind of trying to discover like the possibilities of YouTube and realizing that there's so much opportunity there and so much to understand and study. So it kind of just kind of kept going from there.
Yeah. We had a question come in from, let me see, who was it? It was Old Town Detecting. Said, do you have a, I don't think you want to say too much about your honey hole area or anything, but do you have a favorite town you've ever detected in?
Favorite town. Trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, well, I used to live in Knoxville, and I did a lot of metal detecting around there when I first moved into that area. So, I kind of really did a ton of exploring in that area. Now it's more of a city, but man, I honestly, I like exploring. Like, I kind of have this phrase that I kind of made up because when you're driving around, it's like my phrase is a treasure hunter's never lost. If you get lost, sometimes you find the most amazing permissions. So it's like, well, I'll worry about getting back to civilization later. If I get lost, I ain't concerned about it. So that's kind of my thing. It's like getting lost isn't such a bad thing, if you're hunting treasure.
Yeah, I agree. That's an awesome way of looking at it. I mean, if you can even get lost, like you said, my head's always on a swivel, and no matter where I'm at, the favorite thing I like to do is travel because that opens my mind up to all kinds of other possibilities, and I just, you can drive yourself nuts with it for sure. I call it going down the rabbit hole. Doing research for me is like going down a rabbit hole.
And I live very close to the Appalachian Mountains right now, and there's certain areas where if you just go up into the mountains, I mean, I've been in rural areas where I've lost cell service for a half an hour every direction. So you can get into places where a couple wrong turns and you don't know where you're at, if you're not paying attention.
Well, here's something that came up, and I was going to ask the question later, but we'll tackle it right now. So you're pretty into basketball, or
Yes.
or at least you have been in the past.
That basketball has been a thing with me well before even Coins has. I've been playing basketball since I was probably 7 years old.
Yeah.
So that's probably the first major hobby I've ever had. I call it a hobby, but it's more of like a release too. It's just kind of like my happy place for blowing off steam. Basketball is. I got a hoop set up when I was about 7 years old in our driveway. Been playing ever since. Even though I was homeschooled, I still played for the public schools. There's laws where even if you're homeschooled, they can't deny you participation in public sports. So I played basketball in various different schools since about fifth grade. And since then, once I graduated, I played pickup ball in the streets. I play basketball at YMCA now. It's something that I've done my whole life on and off.
Right. So what happened to your trick shot videos? Deep Digger Duo wants to know what happened to your trick shot videos.
Okay, I'm still playing basketball. It's just that where I used to live, I had access to, it wasn't a private gym, but I lived in a condo where there was a gym where I was like one of the only people that like ever used this thing because it was like 40 units and it was an old historic gym because the building was built in like 1900, but they refurbished the gym a little bit. And it was one of those where it wasn't climate controlled very well. So it was like freezing in the winter and baking in the summer. But whenever I could, I used it and I just set up my camera and I could film because there was like never anyone in there. Once I moved out of there, I've kind of moved several times. So not only have I been busy, but just I haven't had anywhere that I can really film private videos. Like I can't go into a YMCA and just set up a GoPro.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm going to try to do something with it in the future. Once I can get something set up.
Have you gotten any calls from the Chicago Bulls or anything asking you to come work?
Unfortunately, no.
I credit 5280 Adventures with that one. He had another question earlier too.
Sure.
We've got a fellow digger here in town that we both know, Nikki with NRCR Diggers. At one point, you used to dig with her. How'd you get to meet her, and how'd you come up with digging with her?
Yeah, that was just they had found Nikki had found my YouTube channel and just reached out to me and said, hey, I live in, we both lived in Knoxville at the time. I no longer live there and she lives in Colorado, but they just saw me on YouTube and say, hey, you want to get out and dig sometime? And I took her up on the offer and we went out digging, met up and a couple times and just kept going at it. So it was kind of a simple thing. They found me through the channel and we met up at a park and kind of hunted around with each other and found a lot of clad coins and a couple wheat pennies and just got into the door knocking. I think we both majorly had treasure fever at the time. So, we didn't care, just pound on people's door. Hey, can I dig in your yard?
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
My digging partner Tony, yeah, he's been out digging with her a couple of times, and she's pretty passionate about it, and she's a good detectorist. So I just want to know how that came about. Um, I was going to talk about research with metal detecting. I mean, that's to me, it changed. I always thought metal detecting was all about me out there with a detector finding treasures,
Right.
but really it's turned into more about the things I've learned regarding the history with research and everything that's really taken a forefront, taken on so much more for me. Was it like that to you? Like, did you really start getting into history once you started doing research, or had you always been into history, or?
Um, Not really. It was actually the metal detecting that made me more interested in trying to learn about that. So it happened so fast. I've always had a little bit of a fascination with older homes. Kind of around the same time I got into metal detecting, or actually a little bit earlier, maybe a couple years prior to when I got into metal detecting. I started to get into researching real estate. I was really into kind of like the home improvement shows and stuff like that. So I had been educating myself about where I lived at the time and had an appreciation for older houses. And then when I got into the metal detecting, it just kind of amplified it. Then I was like kind of infatuated with older properties and fixer uppers. And then I really started to notice the major distinguishing factors between old homes and modern ones. There's just no comparison. Like, I'm driving down the road, I'm looking at the foundations at the houses. I'm like, oh, they rebuilt this one, but it's got an 1800s brick foundation. I mean, you're just looking for this stuff. So when I started metal detecting, it just amplified everything. And then all of a sudden I was into the history. I was into the old homes. I was into the research. I was into the story behind where I was at, why I was finding the stuff. So it kind of all just snowballed.
Yeah. What do you, so would you target an area, look up its history, do some research, go out there, start looking for permissions, or would it be more of just a driving around, see something, and then go after it?
That is actually at both. It just depends on my mood. Like if I already do a lot of work on computers for like business and buying and selling things. So there's sometimes when I don't want to do research. Like first thing I want to do is just get off the computer and go out. So there are some times where my treasure hunting is just completely spontaneous, no research. I'm just trying to find old areas, meet people, network, figure things out as I go. And then other times it's very well rehearsed and researched, and I know exactly where I'm going and why. So the answer to that question is definitely both.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's completely spontaneous, and sometimes I've got a specific reason for where I'm headed.
G-Man earlier wanted to know, what's your best pitch to get permission?
I'll just give it to you because it's like pretty much the same. Well, I don't say the same thing, but like a variation of the same thing. It kind of goes something like this. Like I said, there's variables, but it'll go, hey, my name's John. I'm a history buff. I'm going around the neighborhood here, trying to get some permissions to do some metal detecting to look for like old coins and buttons and stuff like that. And I'll say, do you mind if would you mind if I took a look around your front yard? It kind of goes something like that every time. And I generally don't do a lot of knocking in super rural areas where it's like farms and that. So I just kind of do a variation of that, just try to be very respectful. And I get a pretty good response. Even if they're not on board right away, I give them enough space where once they start to talk, I'll purposely extend the conversation if I can tell that they don't already have their mind made up. Because if you just say that and then just kind of stand there and just like kind of look at them and wait for an answer, they're probably more often than not gonna resort to like saying, well, I'm not sure about that. So if I find that somebody's not sure, they just need to know me better, I'll extend the conversation and start chatting with them. Like, hey, I was down the street by your neighbor's place and there's this old ball field or something. Like whatever I can use for a conversation starter, I'll just keep talking with them. And then until they're, more comfortable with me as a person and what I'm doing, that I'm not going to dig giant craters in their yard or, I'm not a thief or something. So
yeah,
it's just kind of a lot of it's ad lib. You just got to get a feel out the person. But what I said there to start with, that's my basic pitch. It goes something like that.
And what's your success rate? I think a lot of people are intimidated to go door knocking. I think that,
Yeah.
and then once they do, I think they see that it's not so bad. They get some confidence. So are you like an 80%er? Are you?
I think 80% stretching it a little bit. It's one of those things. I probably have a success rate around 2/3 yes, somewhere around there. You give and take depending on the area, but generally I would say a good 80% of the people of the doors you knock on, as long as you present yourself properly, and 80% of the people, at least around in there, have a preconceived idea, regardless of what you say, of whether they're going to say yes or no. There's honestly a small percentage of people that you're actually going to sway based on how you present things. So it is important, but you just have to go out realizing that most of the people that are going to say no are going to say no regardless, not because you messed up. And you do get better over the years of trying, of getting the people that are kind of on the fence about it. But I probably have about, like I said, about a 2/3 yes ratio. To me, if 2/3 of the people, the doors I knock on say yes, to me, it's not something that's so far out of the ordinary that I shouldn't be doing it. That's actually pretty good, in my opinion, that 2 out of every 3 random people, I knocked on their door, I'm a stranger, and they said I can dig in their yard. To me, that's a success.
Total success. And there's a lot there to choose from. You got a lot to go to the next one,
Right. And some days you'll get 3 no's to every yes, or even 4 no's. It happens. But overall, I mean, once in a while you meet some really nice people and you're glad you knocked. I've had a guy that insisted on cooking me breakfast. I have people giving me tacos before. They're like, hey, we're headed to Taco Bell. What do you want? I'm like, I don't need nothing. They're like, no, what do you want? It's like, so, I mean, there's a lot of nice people out there. And
yeah.
I'm glad I've knocked on some of the doors.
Have you ever had a permission retracted?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of times. It just happens. It's normally when you get retractions, it's normally married couples, and they don't run it by their spouse. So most of the time you get permission from the guy and the woman will get you the boot. But I've also had that happen the other way around. So everybody knows I'm not sexist. I've had an instance where a guy, twice at least, where a guy gave me permission. Once I was out with Rusty several years back. The guy was awesome, gave us permission, and I think it was his girlfriend started yelling out the window, "Get out of here and never come back." So,
yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, my gosh. Down South Detecting wants to know, where's the farthest west you've ever detected?
I have never gone too far west. Probably because there's the allure to stay further north and east, because it seems just a general rule in the United States, the further north and further east you go, the older the fines get. I've actually stayed quite busy over the years, so a lot of my traveling is just where I can drive to within, on a 2 to 3 day trip. I've never gone further west than Nashville. I've detected a couple times in Nashville. That's as far west as I've gone. But as far as, I've gone a lot further south. I've been to the Carolinas. I've been south to Georgia, and north, obviously, the whole way up to Pennsylvania. But never further west than Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow. Hey, real quick, if you're just joining us, I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt. We're talking to JD with JD's Variety Channel. Welcome to the show. Please, if you have a question, put it in chat. But interact with each other. That's great. Earlier, Getter Doug wants to know, anywhere in the world you could detect, where would you choose?
Whew, that's a great question. There's so many places I would want to go, and I know a lot of diggers jump on that, say right away, I want to go to Europe, which would be awesome. But I've always had a fascination with sort of the obscure locations where you're not going to see other people digging, or like you don't see a lot of footage on YouTube. I don't know if I could put a specific where I would like to go, but I'd like to go somewhere where I could literally start to unlock and talk about history that doesn't exist on the internet. I've actually wanted to metal detect in various places in Africa, even South America, anywhere I could go where I could find things where you're not going to see a lot of content from. So I love, even here in America, when I find a foreign coin, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's modern. It's just awesome because it's something unique. Mm. So I'd love to find old coins on just some other continent somewhere. I don't really care where, just to find unique stuff wherever that is, wherever it takes me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I got been watching this channel lately. They dig in Japan.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of interest in Japan as it is. So
I've actually spent a lot of time watching a lot of videos from a lot of the international diggers I could find that are outside of, like, Europe and the UK, because there's a huge group. It's even metal detecting, you could argue, is even bigger over there because there's such more of a return on your investment. Some people metal detect like for profit, not even for like as like a hobby. So it's huge over there in Europe. But kind of like you said, you watching the channel, Dig in Japan. I've loved watching the oddball channel here and there I found of somebody digging in Japan. Or I used to follow someone who dug in Africa. He's no longer posting videos, but I love watching the diggers from the other areas that I just don't know much about as far as what they find.
yeah, I agree. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, Garnet Carmichael earlier stated that he's been watching you for a long time, and you actually were his inspiration to get into metal detecting back when you just started putting videos out. He's been watching you for a long time, so he just wanted to give you a shout out, and I wanted to give him a shout out. So we were just talking about the other day. We like comments like that. We like people that say that somehow you've inspired them or something. That's always great to hear. So great job out there.
I appreciate you sticking around with the channel for all the years and through my crazy whims and random things.
So where's the channel at these days? I mean, where's your focus at these days? What's been going on?
Well, it's still, I guess, just sticking to the JD's Variety concept. I don't know. I guess for those who haven't, don't know of my channel or haven't been around, since the beginning, I think it was in 2015, around in there. Might have been, yeah, I think it was in 2015 where I changed the name of the channel from JD's Coins to JD's Variety Channel, because I thought the name was just a little too limited for what I wanted to do with the channel. So back in 2015, I changed the name to JD's Variety Channel, and since then, I haven't, even though the channel's focused primarily on, like, mostly on metal detecting and coin roll hunting, there's no topic that's sort of off bounds, or nothing that's off bounds that I won't share. So, but primarily it just, sticks to real life adventures with a metal detector. I've done a little bit of magnet fishing, not much because there's not a lot of 2 grade areas in my area to look, but I've really got into doing like the amethyst hunting when I can. Being by the Appalachian Mountains, there's so much geology and different things to go along with that.
How about gold prospecting?
I haven't done that yet. Probably you can find gold in Tennessee, but it's, generally fine gold, and, people have found like tiny nuggets here. But I would like to do some gold prospecting in the future.
Come on out to Colorado, man.
Yeah. I definitely may sometime.
Yeah, we'll have to have you out for sure.
But yeah, the channel's just a mixed bag, but primarily focused around treasure hunting of whatever sort.
It's a great channel. Hey, I'm going to shout out some more people because some people snuck in on us while we've been talking here for a little while. We've been on for about a half an hour now. J3B, Digging Canada. How you doing there, buddy? Good to see you. Deep Digger Duo, like I said earlier. Hi there, bud. Don, how you doing? Matt with Gone Digging in the house. Good to see you. Tin Cup Tim, thanks for showing up. Missouri Mike, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming on and watching the show. Yeah. Who do you see? Do you got your chat up there? Do you see anybody? Metallic Archaeology. Awesome.
92 Finder, Tar Heel Digging. I know Matt. Doug Johnson. How are you doing?
Exciting.
Tin Cup Tim.
Yep.
757 Digger.
How you doing? Thanks for coming up. Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for showing up, everybody. If you got questions for JD, go ahead and put them in here. So let's start talking about detecting and about certain finds you've had.
Go for it.
Do you have a bucket list?
Yeah, the bucket list is broad. I don't have any honed in on something. I want to find a U.S. gold coin, a 2-cent piece, a 3-cent piece. Now, for anyone who doesn't know of my channel or doesn't know who I am, I primarily metal detect in Tennessee and sometimes in Virginia, but not in the oldest parts. So getting like the early 1800s and colonial stuff off my bucket list takes a lot of effort where I'm at. So I have like the 2, 3, and the 2 and the 3-cent piece on my list. I've been able to get the large cent off my bucket list. In 2017, I found a couple of them now. found a King George halfpenny in Tennessee, which is one of the oldest coins you can find here. But apart from those old, really old ones I found, pretty much every American coin other than a large cent that's older than a seeded coin is pretty much on my bucket list.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And yeah, and an American gold coin. I found a gold coin, but it was kind of a jewelry find. It was a Mexican 2 pesos coin set and a 10-karat gold ring.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but I want to find a piece of American gold, specifically a $2.50 quarter eagle, which is kind of, for some reason in my mind, sticks out as something I'd want to find, because I've spent years metal detecting around a lot of houses built from like the 1920s, 30s, and 1940s, and it's kind of a time period coin that I could possibly find, and it would represent the type of metal detecting I've done a lot of over the years.
Yeah.
Around the time when, you know, gold was confiscated from the, you know, American citizens and all that sort of thing in the Great Depression and all that. A lot of crazy stuff happened around that time period in history.
There seems to be a lot of gold being found this year already in 2019. As you know, I watch a lot of videos, you know, from my other show.
I can't watch. No, it's awesome to see it come up. Yeah.
It has. I think I was watching Brad with Green Mountain Metal Detecting the other day, and he pulled up a 2 escudos, or I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure.
I think it was a half escudo.
Half escudo.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I commented on his video as well to just congratulate him. It was mind blowing.
Side of some mountain that big.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it just goes to show you, like, we're literally, a lot of the, you know, like a lot of metal detecting is, especially if you do that type of detecting, it's needle in a haystack stuff. You're not going to just walk out. I mean, you can get lucky and randomly walk out and find stuff. There's news stories. What was it? Several years back, that a 4-year-old with a $50 detector was just walking around at some sort of event and found like a $4 million piece of historic gold or something. So, I mean, you just don't know.
It sparks the treasure hunter interest in all of us, I think, when we hear stories like that.
Yeah.
Crazy. Hey, speaking of other YouTubers and YouTube channels, do you spend a lot of time watching other YouTube channels or not much?
Back in the day when I first got into it, that like for a while, like all I wanted to do was metal detect. And then when I got home, I would work on my, you know, video. And while I was working on my video, while it was like, you know, it was uploading to YouTube, I was watching other people's videos, and even hours afterward. So when I first started out, and for the first few years, I was just kind of soaking it up. Eventually you get to the point where there's only so many videos you can watch. So primarily now I do get around once in a while, and I'll spend, you know, a few hours here and there once in a while, just, you know, watching random channels and stuff. But primarily I stick to watching the videos of people I've become good friends with, or once in a while you just may, you know, see a video pop up that there's something extremely special found that you kind of get your curiosity. But I do still watch a lot of them, but I try to limit my time, because you can get so consumed by the excitement that you never actually do anything yourself. So I try to find that balance.
Let's talk about machines. Michael Williams wanted to know, is the T2 still your go-to machine right now?
It is currently my most used one. It's kind of hard to say. I guess technically you would call it my go-to, because it's the one I'm most comfortable with. And when I say comfortable with, like when I sweep over an area to scout an area, or if I need to test an area, I'm the most confident that I get the information I need by sweeping it, because I know exactly what it's telling me, and I can scout an area really fast. Is it the most deep-seeking machine that I use? No. But it is the best for me for various reasons, for being my main machine for scouting and being comfortable with. For some reason, everybody kind of has a detector that kind of clicks with them. It's a combination with the T2. Not only am I very in tune with it and what it's telling me, but one of the big reasons of making the switch is it's a lot lighter weight. Some people may not know I have some issues with, you know, like my neck and my upper body. So lightweight is my friend. So that's one of the reasons why I like that detector as well. But I've really locked into it, and I like using it. But I do have other detectors that I used depending on what site I'm hunting.
Yeah, you mentioned your shoulder risers earlier. Risers asked, "How's your health? How's your health doing these days? Good?"
I appreciate everyone asking. My health has gotten quite a bit better. And it's, even the issues I've had with my muscles have improved over time. So I just have to be careful that I have a tendency, and this is, I guess, kind of use it as a springboard to talk about it. It's one of the reasons I love detecting with other detectorists and stuff, but I'm also very competitive. So sometimes what happens to me is if I go out metal detecting with other people, I'll swing for 6 hours without barely coming up for air. And the next day, like, I've like literally almost killed myself. So it's healthier for me when I kind of go out by myself, take my time, zone out, focus on the filming and just enjoy the day. But yeah, my health has come, it's improved over the years from some of the problems I had years ago and from the injury I had like 4 years back. It's improved. So as long as I keep them, as long as I don't do anything stupid with the metal detecting, like what I just said, I'm pretty good to go.
Well, if we ever have you out to do some gold detecting here in Colorado, some gold panning, there's no speed to it, so we'll we will stay out there all day. But
I need to branch out too. And I play basketball too, and I hurt myself playing basketball too. Yeah. It's just part of playing basketball. It's a contact sport. Like, I mean, I bent, my pinky got bent back so far a couple months ago that it's like, the bone is like, it's like I've had so many injuries from basketball, and then you add detecting to it. Like, I probably aged myself a little quicker than I should have. But yeah, that's why I have other hobbies like coin roll hunting and like you said, gold panning, where it's not like, that would be something cool because it's not like constantly digging like 200-300 holes in a day.
Yeah.
That I'm always looking for other stuff that's fun, that's not as hard on the body.
Yeah. Hey, the Lou D711 wanted to know what you thought the best detector would be for the woods.
For the woods, well, if you're going to be woods hunting, you obviously don't have to focus on having something waterproof. It helps, just in case you get a heavy rainfall. You can get covers for most detectors, but even then I kind of get nervous if you're in a downpour and you have a detector that's not waterproof. But for the woods, I know a lot of people like the XP Deus because it's lightweight. And then in the woods, generally, I'm thinking of people that are going to cover a lot of ground. You're not talking about a confined yard space. So lightweight would be better. The XP Deus does detect very deep. So the XP Deus, on the high end would be a good woods machine. What I use, the Technetics T2 would be fine. I mean, you could pretty much use anything. It depends on if you're looking for like torn down home sites in the woods and places that have a lot of iron. You actually, I know this might sound contradictory to what some people think. A lot of people say, oh, well, if you're looking around torn down home sites, you want a detector that has better discrimination. I disagree. You want a detector that has iron audio because you want to listen to all of it. And that's one of the things I tell people about premier coin shooting machines like the Mine Labs, like the CTX, and especially the E-Track. They discriminate iron so well that they're not the best for relic hunting unless you obviously open your screen. But even then, there's detectors that have better iron audio, like the AT Pro. I've been using the Macro Racer 2. That's what I found the breastplate with here, which it was amazing here on the farmhouse. And it has an amazing ability to let you hear all the iron, but you can pick out the non-ferrous targets quite easily. So if you're in the woods, I would say get a relic, a machine that focuses more on relics. Don't buy an expensive coin shooting machine. They'll work, but they're not the best for the job.
Well, that T2, I have a T2 also, and that T2 has a pretty large lower end on it. It's got a pretty high range of iron range, right?
Yeah,
more than the higher end.
You will dig more iron with it than, like, say, like a Mine Lab. Like literally when I was primarily a coin shooter, and I don't exaggerate on this, but in retrospect, I know I was missing a lot of stuff too. But when I used the Mine Lab E-Track, I found a ton of silver coins because I did mostly urban hunting in lawns. But I had the probe on it, so I could also discriminate out iron in the hole. So I would literally dig less than one. I'd be surprised if I dug more than one nail a month. That's how good the discrimination is. But if you're relic hunting, that's not a good thing. You want to hear everything so you understand what's going on. You don't want to just discriminate it out. Like if you're hunting a trashy park in an urban area that's littered with shallow modern trash, you're going to want a detector that has better discrimination and just ignore all that. But in the woods, completely different game.
Yeah, I agree. I switch things up on you. We're kind of bouncing around, but that's all right. That's what's coming from the chat. That's great.
Hey, whatever you want to do.
Metallic Archaeology wants to know, what do you think the best tools are for video editing, and what do you use, and what kind of equipment do you use for your video editing?
Okay, I will first say off the bat, when it comes to technological questions, you're generally asking the wrong person. It may only seem like I've gotten pretty good at it only because I've mastered the basics. I am not a seasoned video editor. I still use free software. I have a PC. I use Windows Live Movie Maker. When I upgraded my desktop, I even went back and downloaded a version of Windows Live Movie Maker that was old because it's so outdated. It doesn't come on desktops anymore. But I was so used to it, I just wanted to stick with what I knew. So I mastered the basics just to make a clean, presentable video. The cameras for digging, I generally just use cheap handheld cameras. I actually have one right here. It's just a JVC Averio. Like everything's worn off of it. You can't even tell what it is because this is an older one. But they shoot in high definition. You lose maybe a little bit of sharpness on the image quality, but the zoom is generally really good on these for digging. You can get them used on eBay for like 40, 50 bucks. So, if one breaks, it's not the end of the world. I usually go through like probably one of these a year, and I always have at least one or two backups. But I always get one that has 40 times optical zoom. I find that those are the best ones. And you just want to avoid ones that you can tell if it's an older model, it'll just look clunkier. Technology got more streamlined as you go. So you can just tell the ones that kind of look like this are the slightly newer models. I mean, that's really all I do. I have a couple special cameras like GoPros and stuff for action shots, or if I'm taking a shot underwater or I would need to get an extreme close-up, I got a newer camera for that. But on my metal detecting videos, 99% of it is just with one of these cheap cameras.
Right.
I mean, that's it. And the video editing is free software. I mean, that's the extent of it.
Yeah, I think I was watching your videos, and like back in, I think it was May of 17, you released a video where you had just passed through 20 million views. And you kind of sat in your car and you kind of did a reflective video one time, I remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I actually did a hats off video to you for that video because it really talked to me as a YouTube creator, as somebody that was out here trying to, do something to serve the metal detecting community and create some kind of channel of myself and some kind of position within the community and such. And you really kind of got deep, and it was a one-take video too. There was not much editing, if any, on that. And you talked about that camera, and I wondered if you had upgraded, but it looks like you hadn't.
This is probably not the same one that was in that video, but it's the same kind.
Yeah, that's great.
That one probably died.
Hey, if it works, go with it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And for me, once past 2015, when the YouTube channel started to grow and I started to change things up, I had to find a way to balance everything. It wasn't like one thing. Like originally I was just a strict coin shooter. It was focused on the metal detecting and nothing else. Like the videos were secondary, monetization was secondary. Like that was literally just my personal hobby and sharing with people. When it changed, it became a little bit of everything. I was trying to find the perfect balance of getting good content and, shooting decent video, and at the same time, marketing correctly with YouTube. I didn't just want to slap up a video and, only like 100 people would watch it. So I did try with the marketing and tried to grow in my understanding of YouTube. So it became a trying to find the right balance for everything. And I realized if I wanted to focus on the treasure hunting and the content, if I put all my effort into high-end editing and relearning all that stuff, it was going to take away from the exploring, because it takes a long time to learn that stuff and learn the new software. And I just decided, hey, I'll just try to be more presentable, try to approach the channel more personally, and be more relatable with people. And I took that approach apart from doing the technological approach, where every video I post has to be perfectly edited, over the top. And you'll find that most people that, and I'm not saying this is a wrong way to do it. I mean, whatever works for you, whatever you want to do. YouTube, there's so many different things you can do. But the people that do the fine-tuned edited videos, I mean, they may only post one video a week or one video a month. There's so much time that goes into that people don't realize. So I realized earlier on, I'd rather just focus on vlog format, and once in a while maybe do a special video. But
yeah, well, I'll recommend it
between everything.
I'll recommend it to the people in chat who also have YouTube channels that are producing videos, go back at JD's channel, go back there and do a search and look for when he hit 20 million views, and look for that video and watch it, because I'm telling you, as a fellow creator myself, you guys will definitely, hopefully, get out of it what I got out of it, and it was a lot of good stuff. So thank you for that.
If you if I gave one piece of advice to anyone who wants to start a channel, if you just try to focus on kind of like the gimmicky stuff, because I mean, there's a lot of ways where you could try to just get clicks on your video. And I mean, it may even work when your channel's smaller, like to get out there. But when you get down the end of it, like when the excitement dies down, if you're not relatable as a character, you're not going to hold an audience. And that's just kind of what I've tried to focus on over the years. And sometimes I've been a little sensational when it comes to things, especially when I was trying to build the channel strong. But eventually you realize that, you know, if you're not doing it sustainable in a way where you're just constantly projecting onto an audience to try to get views, not only will you burn out, but in a year or two, you're not going to have fun doing it anymore. So the types of videos that I go out and shoot now, I wouldn't care if like 10 people watched it, because I actually like doing it.
Yeah,
good. And that's kind of what I focus on these days.
Great advice. Thank you for that. Hey, you mentioned go ahead.
Actually, one more piece of advice I want to tell people. One of the reasons why a camera like this is good is I can't explain it, but you can make the videos more personable. One of the mistakes I see a lot of people make is they try to shoot metal detecting videos, which are kind of more intimate. They shoot them on like a GoPro, and I'm not saying you can't, but the audio with the GoPro and the noises that it makes and when you mount it, yes, people are interested in what you find, but if they don't like know who you are, they're just like, they're watching your video, but they're not connecting with your channel. You need to make sure you have equipment where, like, when you watch the video back or have somebody else watch it back, like, do they know who you are? Do they know what you're saying? Or like, are you explaining things? Are you talking to them? Some people say I talk too much, but when you realize if you're running a channel, you have to explain yourself in a way where everybody knows what's going on and what you're doing, even if you're repetitive. So number one focus, connect with the people that you're talking, the people you're making the video for.
Awesome. That's great. Hey, you mentioned a minute ago, and we're going to go back to it right now. Let's talk about this breastplate you found in your yard. In your yard, man, in your yard.
I know, right?
I'm going to put up a picture of it right now. Hold on here. Let me put this up right there. And let me just kill that right there. Yeah, check that out, everyone. What is it, first of all? What is it?
Okay, so it's a breastplate that, okay, now I'm not an expert when it comes to the Civil War relics. I kind of learned as I go, and I'm definitely not an expert of colonial relics because I never knew anything about them growing up, and I dig in an area where I generally don't find stuff that old to research. But I'm told, I actually have it right here, that it was this specific design of breastplate would have been made in 1839. So it's a pre-Civil War breastplate, which would have been, worn across, someone's shoulder, or that's why it's called a breastplate. And I really don't know too much about it yet, but I'm just completely stoked to have it.
I'm gonna run a video right here. We'll start this. It'll pop up on your screen in a minute. Tell us what you're thinking as you're going back.
Yeah. I'll see it pop up here in a second.
Oh, it's still not up. Okay. Yeah, you're holding it in your hand. You're kind of checking it out.
It's just, when I pulled it out and, I just saw this big lead disc. If you listen to the audio and the video, I even said, oh, this could be a breastplate. Like it's the right shape and it's kind of a chunk of lead. And it kind of just looks like what I would expect a breastplate to look like coming out of the ground. And then the denial hits and you're like, I'm making it up like any other treasure hunter. I'm wishful thinking, I'm making it up. And I ran under the pig pen because it was like windy that day and it takes away from the shadows. And it just was kind of like rubbing on the middle of it a little bit. And I thought I saw some almost like scales, like which would represent the breast on the eagle. I just saw a little bit of it and I saw it and I'm like in my mind, I'm thinking, I think this might be a breastplate, maybe. But I didn't even say that on camera because I didn't want to just like say something like kind of like make it look like I was trying to play it up. but I had this like hunch that it might be because I saw a little bit of that detail on the eagle's breast. So then I ran it underwater for just like 3 seconds. And the whole time I'm running over the, the spigot, I'm thinking, I should probably film this and do this live. I'm like, it's not a breastplate. So I run it underwater for like 3 seconds, and then I'm in shock, and then I just turn the camera on.
Wow.
Right away. And that was pretty much it.
Pretty amazing find there, man. Hey, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and give away one of my Weekly Dirt t-shirts right now. For those of you that don't know what they look like, I'll throw a picture of one up right now. I usually do this on every one of my Digger Spotlight shows. And I'm going to, in a minute, I'm going to have JD say go. But when he does say go, you all are going to pick a number between 1 and 100 and start throwing them down in the chat. But only when he says go. And when we've pre-selected a number and when we see it, we'll stop the roll and announce the winner, and we'll get you a shirt out for the Weekly Dirt. That'd be awesome. So JD, anytime you want to tell them to get going.
Go.
All right. 1 to 100. Pick a number, start throwing them down. You can enter more than once. Just start throwing it down. It'll probably kick you out after a few guesses. Okay, they're going to start flying now.
It's starting to pick up.
Mike Lyman, you're eligible. 5280 Adventures, you are not eligible. As you know the number, and you're going to help me look. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm still looking.
Yeah. Had to scroll back up and slow back down.
Don't see it yet. I think I've seen all of them so far. I'm trying to.
Tony, if you see it out there, just go ahead and shout out stop for everyone if you see it.
Oh, I saw one that was one off.
Oh, which one was it? Which one of you was just one off?
I see it.
Do you see it now?
I saw it, yeah. I saw it. You want me to say that? I saw the first name.
Okay, go ahead and stop. If JD saw it, we'll have everyone stop.
I think I saw it by the first name. I think was Laura.
Laura.
I couldn't. It went so fast. I barely caught the first name. I think that was the first person to get it. There was like 5 people that got the They got the number flipped around.
Yeah, a lot of 89s. The number was 98. The number was 98. Tony, help me look back. Tony, would you go scroll back and see if Laura? I'm going to butcher the last name. Klabund is the last name on that. Laura, congratulations. If Tony verifies you, you are the winner of a Weekly Dirt t-shirt. And if you would like to send me an email at dk@adventuresindirt.com or send me, just leave a comment down below on how to contact you on email or something, or find some other way of getting a hold of me through a comment on a video or whatever. We'll make sure to get a shirt out to you. Show me, tell me your size, and we'll get that right out to you. So congratulations.
Congratulations, Laura.
That's awesome. Congratulations. So hey, we were talking the other day. Let me get your images going back here again. There we go. We were talking the other day, and you were telling me you had some kind of new development coming on, something new. You were starting something on Facebook. What were you planning on doing on Facebook?
Yeah, I had this idea. One of, I guess, my confessions is I kind of get scatterbrained and have a hard time keeping all of like contact in one place. And I'm not the best at responding to messages, especially people that reach out to me on Facebook. I usually haven't used it much. So I've really been thinking about it for several months that I wanted to start a Facebook group to have a place where people could come and post their finds and make more of a community out of it. And also, even like when I can't get to people's questions, kind of a place where people can come to get answers about things they've found, but not just metal detecting. I mean, there's a lot of metal detecting groups and forums out there where people can go to, but I wanted a place that was kind of like my channel where it's a fusion, where people can not only post their metal detecting finds, but they can post what they find, looking through bankrolls. I don't care if it's, if you're looking for shark teeth, arrowheads, if you're, like a gold prospector. I just wanted a place where people could post on whatever various treasure hunting themed hobbies that they have. And that's sort of the key, to keep it around some sort of adventure or treasure hunting. So I decided to pull the trigger and open up a Facebook group and just see where it goes. I didn't have too much of a plan with it other than I wanted to use it as a platform to where people could join and find like-minded people for whatever hobbies they have.
You told me the name of it. I'm going to go and pull up an image of it while you tell us the name of it and some of the rules and some of the ways of joining the group you've got. So, yep.
Yeah, I pretty much, there's really not much set yet, but I just called it Adventures Extraordinaire to kind of leave that broad name that it's kind of open to interpretation when it comes to what type of treasure hunting. But I just did some basic rules to have some sort of order in it. I know a lot of people try to post to outside sources and like the videos and that. I want to keep it more so to, like photos, because, as one human being, I can't, go through and watch, 5 million videos in a day and see whether, they're clean or not. So just pretty much the typical, like I would request of people, no swearing, no posting videos, and just don't use the platform to try to buy and sell stuff. That's pretty much it. Other than that, just share your finds, try to help out other people if you can with help identifying stuff. And
excellent. Adventures Extraordinaire. Did you take that picture on the cover?
I did not. It's a stock photo, but I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
I know. I was just looking at that the whole time. I'm like, that's a perfect picture, because I can look at that every day and be like, yeah, I wish I knew where that was.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a metal detector on that place.
I was going to ask you, did you get creeped out when you detected there?
No, man, forget being creeped out. Like I love places like that. And like, I know a lot of people are creeped out by cemeteries.
Yeah.
And I don't metal detect in cemeteries, but I love walking through them and looking at the headstones and that sort of thing. Once in a while in my videos, you'll see me randomly do a tour of a cemetery. I haven't in a while, but I'll probably squeeze it into some of my longer adventure videos in the future.
Right. So is that breastplate, is that your favorite find?
Of all time?
Yes.
I don't know. I'd really have to think about it. Like I said, when it comes to something like that, it's really splitting hairs. It's top. It's definitely top 5, top 10, somewhere in there. But I don't know. I'd have to really think whether it's my favorite or not. I mean, I found a couple. I did find one other similar notable relic. Early in 2018, I found a Union spur that was complete with the dowel still on it, and I never showed it. I haven't really cleaned it up or preserved it yet. And when I posted the video originally, I didn't know 100% certain if it was Civil War period, but it was identified as a Union Civil War spur. So that's kind of right in line with that relic. And I obviously love my coins too. So, I mean, I love my Mexican gold coin, my Morgan dollar. I found a rare standing Liberty quarter and some other unique things.
Do you have that spur with you?
I don't. It's not here where I can grab it right now.
You look to the right, and I was like, if he's got it there, I'm going to ask him to show it to us.
It's like it's one of those like things like when you're thinking, turn your head,
Yeah.
No, it's not like it's over there. No, it's just the kind of when I think sometimes I'll turn my head.
Hey, you mentioned preservation. What kind of things do you do to preserve? And why don't you talk a little bit about preserving coins versus preserving relics, and kind of what applications do you use?
I can talk about preserving coins. I'm not the person to ask for about preserving relics because I'm not really into that, especially preserving Civil War relics. Honestly, a lot of the relics that I've had, since I focused on coins over the years, I haven't really preserved anything. But now as I get more into the relic hunting, into the older properties, I need to figure something out fast so that I'm taking care of them properly. But when it comes to coins, one thing you'll see in my videos moving forward is I'm even more specific than I ever was because I don't want to destroy something valuable. But there's a pretty common basic thing when it comes to coins. If it's silver, it's okay if you spray it with water. It's not going to hurt it. You just don't want to rub it because silver scratches very easily. So if you have a silver coin, sure. If you want to show the date in the field, spray it down. Just, don't rub on it because all that fine dirt will scratch it. And with the silver, pretty much all I do is I don't want to alter the state of a coin. So a lot of people will use baking soda and other cleansing, other solutions. I don't on the silver. If it's tarnished black, I will spray it down and just keep patting it dry until it gets all the loose dirt off. I don't do anything apart from that. When you're finding old bronze and copper coins, if you think they might be rare or you have large cents or anything you think might be valuable, you don't want to use water on them because the water can really break them down. So on those, you generally want to, if you're going to clean them in the field, you just want to dry brush them. And if you want to clean them further, there's a lot of methods that you can use. I recommend experimenting on coins that you know are not valuable. But there's multiple things you can do. On some of the old coppers, you can use, I think they're called, I haven't tried them yet, but I mean, I've used toothpicks before, very gently to clean off the coins. But
you ever use those Andre pencils? Have you ever used those?
But I've actually been intending to do that. I probably need to do that. But generally, I just like leaving stuff in the condition that I found it. I don't mess with stuff too much. So, I mean, I'm generally in the camp where you don't clean your coins apart from the ones that are like super dirty. Now, when it comes to nickels, generally it actually helps to remove any remaining surface of the coin. So the way I clean old nickels, like buffalo nickels, and V nickels, is you just take a toothbrush with no solution on it. It was toothbrush and water under the sink and just rub it down till you get kind of all an even color. Don't scrub it to death, but you just want to use a toothbrush so it's slightly abrasive to get all the loose areas of the surface that are flaking off, and then just kind of pat it or gently rub it dry, and that's all you need to do for nickels. You don't have to worry about scratching them, and actually putting a little bit of a pressure on them helps kind of make it all of one color. Because what happens on old coins like that is sometimes there'll be like large flakes that chip off. Like, I'm sure a lot of you out there have dug up coins and you left them sitting out for a few days, and then there'll be big flakes of the coin, like you can like pick off with your fingernail. It like dries up and like comes off like a crust. Yeah. So for the nickels, I like to remove that, so the coins kind of have an even look to them. So they're the only coin I really clean a little bit more abrasively, but I still don't use a solution. I still just use water and a toothbrush.
How do you clean your pull tabs?
Usually don't, but I have cleaned some of the old ones in pristine condition, just to show like what they used to look like intact.
I found a coin one time, and it was actually a gold coin. I found my first gold coin. I couldn't believe it. I was on an old farm, and it was like here in Colorado, and it had Spanish writing on it and an eagle, and it was this little tiny gold coin. I didn't know what I had, and I called my buddy, and I'm looking it up on the internet, and it turned out to be a gold-plated Mexican matrimonial token. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but as I started brushing it little by little, the gold started coming off, and I was like, oh.
It's always thinking, you think you got something solid gold, and then you see that first bit of copper showing through or something, and you're like, ah.
Yeah. At least I could say I had the experience of that initial reaction where my body started shaking. I really thought I had something. It was crazy.
I'm sure that's happened to all of us. I've had a few bloopers kind of like that. I remember, I don't know why I remember one clip specifically where I thought I had found a shallow silver coin, like a silver Roosevelt dime. And I pull out the camera, because this is like a lot of the stuff that people don't see. And this was years ago. And I pull out the camera and film it. I'm like, I just got a silver. And I like filmed this, like 20, 30-second clip. And here it was a clad coin that like had some kind of weird reaction with the ground. Like it was like pale white and it wasn't silver. And I like felt like an idiot.
Shit.
Hey, like I almost like always can tell if it's silver or not, but there was this one specific dime that fooled me, and I filmed this whole clip, and I'm like, I just did like a 40-second clip on like a 1998 dime. Yeah.
Oh man, do you belong to any historical societies or treasure hunting clubs anywhere in your area?
I don't currently. The main answer for that would be that I have moved many times since I started my YouTube channel. And even before then, since my early 20s, I think I counted off the top of my head, I can't even remember. I think I've moved about 7 times. So I was really never one place long enough to get like super involved. So I'm probably going to branch out here shortly and try to find more stuff in my current area, because at the time I don't have any intentions of moving from where I'm at. I really like it here. So I really haven't over the years.
How about organized hunts? Do you ever get a chance to make it out to organized hunts?
I've been just to a couple kind of localized hunts that people threw together, but no like big organized pay hunts. But that's sort of on my radar, especially where I live now. It wouldn't be too difficult for me to get in the certain parts of Virginia and into the Carolinas, where I know they have some, like pay digs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's possible moving into the future, but it's not something I've really done much of in the past.
Gotcha.
It'd be awesome just to meet up with people.
Yeah, a lot of times hunts are that's what it's all about. It's more just about the camaraderie and not so much the hunt itself. I know we have a big one here in Colorado every year called Rush to the Rockies. It's usually in June with my
Hmm.
treasure hunting club, the Eureka Treasure Hunting Club,
Right.
and it's a great time. You find a lot of items. You do a lot of speed hunting. Just as fast as you can pick it up and detect it and put it into your pouch, and you're off and running. But it's more about the camaraderie, sitting around meeting people from Florida and from all over the world. It's really awesome. So
Yeah,
fun
if
though.
I did that, it would just be fun to meet people, and you could shoot a video and show everybody else, like, hey, look at all the metal detectors here, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if I went to a dig like that, I wouldn't really care if I found anything. I'd just go out to meet everybody, and if you find anything, it's a bonus.
Yeah, one of the things I'll let go is I've been thinking about, what's my channel going to do this year, 2019. One of the things I've been thinking about since I've kind of taken on this news kind of, thing going on, is maybe heading out to like the Garrett hunt, the Garrett Memorial hunt, and just setting
Hmm.
up a tent and doing interviews, interviewing people,
Yeah.
other YouTubers that come by there. I've been thinking about maybe doing that at that and maybe some other organized hunts. But I'm just kicking around the idea now. I just kind of probably need to solidify it. I think that'd be a blast. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, that would sound cool. You can get there and pick pick the brains of all the different detectorists and share it with everybody else. I'm sure everybody would love to get
yeah,
inside the brains of all the detectorists.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because everybody has their own little flavor of how they approach the hobby, and I've learned that uh, I mean, there are a lot of people attracted into the hobby that are more competitive, or they kind of look at it like a best finds type thing. And of course, like in any hobby, there's bad apples. But I've learned to appreciate like all the different flavors of metal detecting, of like coin shooting and relic hunting, and why people are out doing it. Like for example, my videos are vastly different than a lot of people. I mean, I was joking. I was watching one of Aquachigger's videos just about, I don't know, not even a week ago, and he found like an amazing, I think it was an 1839, something like that, half dime. Just a super old silver coin, a lot of just an amazing piece of American history. And he did like I don't know, like a 20-second clip on it. Like it just, coins don't excite him. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Like I would have like that would have been like my best find for me of like the month. I would have been like ecstatic about it and cleaning it up and sharing it about it and telling people about the value and what it graded. And he's just like, he's looking for the relics.
Yeah. Do you have any plans to buy any new detectors?
Uh,
Metallic
no.
archaeology. Metallic archaeology wants to know.
Um, Actually, probably not right now. I'm using the Technetics T2. Sometimes I switch over to the Macro Racer 2 for testing and finding deeper stuff in areas, or to test ground conditions in areas where I've done well in. And I did buy an XP Deus last year that I haven't used much, and you haven't seen in much of the videos, but I have used it a little bit here and there. I've been procrastinating because that is probably one of the detectors that has the steepest learning curve. There's kind of no way around that, but it's a beast once you get to learn it. So since I bought that XP Deus, if I try other machines, I would more lean into learning that one versus buying a new one. So I do have quite a few detectors. I have many different detectors, but those are probably the main three that I'm kind of focused on right now. So I probably wouldn't try or buy any others unless maybe I did like a sponsorship or something, and I used one just kind of for trying one out for a company or something.
Right. Do you ever use the Nox? Have you used the Nox yet, or had your hands on it?
Just briefly, Vic Tucker, who I metal detect with once in a while, he was in some of my videos last year. When we go out detecting, he has an Equinox, and he let me swing it around for a little bit. That's all I got to use it just for a few minutes, so I can't really comment on it too much.
Well, hey, we've been on for we had planned to be on for an hour. We've gone a little over that, and I could talk to you for hours and hours. You've lately been doing some live streams that have gone on 3 hours plus. I'm telling you, you're a madman when it comes to that.
Time flies. You made that hour just fly right on by.
Awesome. Hey, I want to say thanks to everyone in chat that came up with some
Yes.
awesome questions tonight. You guys really helped me out. Put up some great questions. I think we got some great information out of JD. I do want to thank him for showing up tonight. Tell you what, final questions. Go ahead and put them in. I asked white whale. What's your white whale right now? What's the one thing you've been hoping to find you just haven't found? And then I'll look for questions in the chat, and then we'll wrap this up.
Right. Let's see. The white whale. And it's a little bit tricky because I've knocked quite a couple. Up until last year, if you would have asked me that, I would have said my my white whale was finding a Canadian silver, which is feasible to find in the States, even though I'm further south. I found one last year. I found a Canadian silver dime. So that was the major one for a while. I would have to say, given the sites that I hunt, that I've hunted a lot of Civil War areas, and the fact that I have hunted a ton of 1800 properties, is that I have still not found a fatty Indian head.
Oh.
I don't know why. The Civil War period coins elude me like the plague.
Wow.
So pretty much any Civil War period of coin, especially a fatty Indian, because that would have been the lowest denomination one dropped.
Yeah.
But for some reason, last year I found an 1864 Indian head penny. But for anyone out there who knows about coins, 1864 was the transition year where they made the fatties and the thin bronze ones. Of course, the one I found was the bronze one. So that would have to, a fatty Indian would have to be my white whale.
Great.
Which you would think in 6 years of metal detecting all the sites I have, I would have found one. I haven't.
You haven't.
I've even found 2 large cents, and I still haven't found a fatty Indian.
Gotcha. Last question from the chat comes from the Lou D711. He wants to know what's on that stop sign behind you.
Okay, so the stop sign is basically just from the live streams that I do, just to kind of make it interactive whenever somebody makes a super chat. I just put their YouTube channel name up on a sticky note, and I've been plastering it on my stop sign. And if anybody sends me like a card or something. So that's pretty much what it is. It's just plastered with a lot of people's names that have been supportive of the channel.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go ahead and say goodbye to the chat room, and then I'm going to put you on the side a little bit and say my final goodbyes. And then if you just hold on through all that, you and I will talk afterwards as the credits are rolling. And hey, everyone in chat, when I'm done talking, it's going to go to a screen, play some music. You'll have at least 2 or 3 more minutes to finish your conversations. Feel free to do that. I won't stop streaming for 2 or 3 minutes after, but feel free to do that. But hey, JD, I want to tell you, thank you so much for being a guest on with me. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone out there and everyone in the chat that stopped by and asked questions.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Hey, 1 second. Hold on, bud. Hey, how was that, huh? JD from JD's Variety Channel. Just a wealth of information and knowledge, not just knowledge, but experience. He's done it. He's walked the walk. He's been metal detecting for a long time, been on the YouTube, had the whole YouTube thing going for a long time. So whether you're a YouTube creator or just a metal detectorist that likes to find out as much as you can about metal detecting, his channel is great. He's got that new Facebook group. You need to go over there and check that out and become a member of that and start sharing information over there. Catch his live streams sometime. Support his channel with those super chats. That'd be awesome. But hey, I just want to thank him personally one more time for coming on. It was awesome having him on. I knew he'd be a good guest, and boy, I was right. He definitely brought a lot to the show tonight. So big thumbs up to him. But everyone, if you're not familiar with my channel, Adventures in Dirt, I have 2 shows I run. I have the weekly Dirt, where I show you the best of what the metal detecting community has to offer us from this past week. I'll show you finds. I'll introduce you to new channels. I'll tell you about giveaways going on. I'll tell you about upcoming hunts, and just kind of give you a way to end your week every week. That's called the Weekly Dirt. And then twice a month I do these Digger Spotlight shows where I'll feature notable diggers from our digging community and bring them on for this type of live stream chat. But I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for you guys out there in the chat interacting with us and appreciating us and giving me a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what guests you want me to have on. Let me know how you think the show's going. If you have any critiques or comments, let me know. I'd appreciate it. But hey, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for joining me tonight. And again, 3 more minutes or so. I'll keep streaming. You guys can go ahead and finish your conversations. Thanks a lot. Appreciate seeing everyone. We'll see you next time on Digger Spotlight. I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt. We'll catch you later.